This video is going to walk you through a tour of your WordPress dashboard. Now, the WordPress dashboard is the central location of all the content management features in your WordPress site. You get there by typing into your browser's address bar up here the URL to your WordPress site /wp-admin. Then go ahead and hit enter on your keyboard, and then you're going to be prompted to add your username and password in a little box that pops up here in the center. Then whenever you do that, you're going to be brought to a page that looks similar to this. Now, along the top here is your admin bar, and it has several different links to various parts of your WordPress site. Over on the far left, you've got this icon here for WordPress, and if you hover over that, you get this little drop-down menu. Next to that is the title of your WordPress site and a little house-looking thing. If you click on that, or this link here, it says Visit Site. That's going to take you to your main page of your WordPress site. Then next to that, you can access comments. Then next to the comments link, moving to the right, you have the new link where you can add a new post, new media, that's like videos and images and such, new page, and new users. These can also be accessed over here in the far left column, otherwise known as your main menu. But getting back up here to the far right on your admin bar, you have your name or whatever name you're logged in as, and to the right of that is your gravatar or the image that represents this name that you're logged in under. And in this little drop-down box here, you've got a few features. Whenever you hover over your name, that'll take you to your profile page. Likewise with this guy here that says Edit My Profile, just click on that. It'll take you to the same page. And then here we'll log you out. Now here in the middle, we've got the various modules that can be moved around or even removed by clicking on the Screen Options tab up here at the top right. And by removing the check mark in these boxes, we'll remove these various modules. For example, at a glance, this guy right here, untick that, poof, it's gone. WordPress news, you don't want to know about the news, uncheck that, poof, it's gone. And likewise, you just add the check back into the boxes and they will reappear, just like so. And if we go ahead and click off of the Screen Options tab, you have the Help option over here, and this is page specific. So you can click on this, and this gives you specific information related to the dashboard area. You'll also have this Help tab up here in the top right on these other items here that are specific to that particular item. For example, if we go to the Post page, come on up here to the Help tab, these items here are going to be more related to the Post section when it comes to helping answer any questions. Whatever you see on this Help page here might be different than what you might see on, say, the Appearance page Help section. This is more related to the themes. So now if we take a closer look to the main menu over here on the left, you see the various titles here and the little flyout menu whenever you hover over these items. Being brand new to these, they might not mean a whole lot to you, but you'll get accustomed to them over time. Post, just like it sounds, that's where you add a new post. Now whenever you click on this link here, the flyout menu pops down below that item. And you can still access each and every one of those links just by clicking on them. And then moving on down, we've got media. That's where you can add things like images or video or audio files, pages, comments, and appearance. That's pretty important because that's where you can add and customize the various looks or themes of your WordPress site. Along with that, you have access to various widgets, menus, header, background, and editor. Plugins adds a ton of additional functionality to your WordPress site. Users, that's where you can go in and add additional users or access current users or even access and edit your own profile. Tools, and under settings, a lot of cool stuff in here, but that's the makings of a different video altogether. Now, I also want to mention that you can collapse this menu to where it's just showing those icons that were to the left of the menu items. So if you want more real estate here in the center, go ahead and collapse that. Otherwise, just click on what looks like a little video play button there, and it will expand that back out to full size. And that's a tour of your WordPress dashboard. Thanks for watching, and you have a great day. This video will explain the difference between a WordPress post and a WordPress page. Now, of the two, the post is by far the most important. Now, let's back up to the beginning. The post has been around since WordPress first began, and the page was not introduced until version 1.5 back in 2005. You see, with version 1.5 onward, you could now create static pages like your contact page or your about page that are not part of any blog post. And here's a couple other differences between the two. Pages are a one-off content holder, and posts are a series of content within a WordPress site that can be related to one another or not, but are by default shown in reverse chronological order, meaning the most recent post is at the top and the older posts are below that. And pages can be parents or children of one another, but posts cannot. Posts, however, have tags and categories, but pages do not. And by default, you can use custom page templates, but you can't with posts. Posts have different post types, static, video, audio, depending upon the theme that you're using, and pages do not. And you can create as many different pages as you want, just like posts, and posts show up in your RSS feeds, but pages do not. And that's going to bring us to the end of this video on the differences between your WordPress post and your WordPress page. Thanks for watching, and you have a great day. In this video, we're going to cover the WordPress page and how to create one. And to do that, we need to first log into our dashboard area, and I've already done that here. And if you've not done that before, then in the browser's address bar up here, you want to put in the URL to your WordPress site, followed by a /wp-admin, hit enter, and then a box is going to pop up prompting you to enter your username and your password. And do that, you'll then be brought to this page. At this point, you want to come on over here to the left and click on Pages, and that'll bring you to the page that contains a list of all of your pages that have been published, scheduled to be published, or are in draft mode. And you'll see that over here on the far right, and the date will be listed right above that. And you can get to the page editor of that particular page by clicking on the title, or when you hover over this section here, these options will be displayed, and you can click on Edit to get to the full editor, or if there's just a couple of minor items, then you can click on the Quick Edit, and you'll be presented with this option here to make just a few of the minor edits, but not the full page edit. Or you can trash it, or you can view it in your browser. And to create a new page, you can do that a couple of different ways, by coming over here to the far left and clicking on Add New under the Pages section, or on the Pages page, you can come up here and click on Add New, or in the admin toolbar, you can hover over the word New, and you'll get this drop down, and you can click on Page. That'll bring you to the page editor, where you can enter the title and the content of that new page. And as soon as you enter the title up here in the title bar and click outside of that, WordPress will assign it the slug or the URL to that page. And if you decide later on that you want to edit the slug, maybe make it smaller or change it altogether, you can do that by clicking on Edit, make the change, click on OK, and then if you've already published this page, you'll have to come over here to the right and click on the Update button, because this button over here will reflect if it needs to be published, or if it needs to be updated, or if it's going to be scheduled for a later publication. And I'll cover that here in just a second. But getting back to the editor box, you've got these formatting options here that are very similar to the formatting options of most any other document processing program like Microsoft Word or OpenOffice. And if you are presented with only the single row of formatting options, then you can click on the toolbar toggle option here on the end, and that will display the remaining row or rows of formatting tools. And then you just enter your content here, and you can do that a couple of ways, just by typing away in either the visual tab, which is kind of like a WYSIWYG or what you see is what you get format, or you can enter it in the text tab, and you have less formatting tools to work with, but you can still do the same thing if you're familiar with writing out the code longhand. But coming back to the visual tab, if you have content already produced elsewhere that you want to copy and paste into the editor window, and that content is already formatted, maybe you've got some clickable links, or you've got some text that's bold or italicized like I have in this example here. This is a clickable link. This text is bolded and this text is italicized, and this is a Word document. And if you wanted to copy and paste something like this and maintain that formatting, then you want to make sure that this text icon does not have a border around it. Let me demonstrate. I'm going to go ahead and paste that content in here by holding the Control key down on my keyboard and hitting the letter V as in Victor. And you can see that it's maintained that formatting. Now, it did not carry over the text color, and that might just be a theme issue, but it did carry over the formatting for the clickable link. Let me show you in the text tab. You can see here where it's got the ahref tag. Now, if you did not want to carry over the formatting, if you wanted to get that stripped out, let's go ahead and select this and delete it. Then you would click on this text icon, you'll get this pop-up telling you what you're about to do and how to toggle this on and off. And basically, this is just going to strip out the formatting from that Word document. And you can see now that it has a border around that icon. If I Control V to paste that, all the formatting is stripped out. Now, if you wanted to add media to this, like an image or video or anything from the media library, then you can do that by clicking on the Add Media button right here. Just put the cursor somewhere in the editor window where you want that media to be added, then come on up here and click on Add Media, and you can just drag and drop that media file in here, or you can select from content that's already been added to your media library, or you can insert it from a URL. Let's say we want to add the working squirrel here. Just select that, click on Insert into Page, and there it is. And you can click on the image for further formatting. Now up along the top here in the far right, you have this Help tab. It has a drop down with help information related to this particular page, the page editor page. And under Screen Options, if we click on that, we get this drop down where we can add additional fields or options on our page. For example, if we check the box here next to Discussion, that adds the Discussion module down here below the editor window where we can toggle on or off to allow comments and or trackbacks and pingbacks. And one other item up here I wanted to mention, besides the number of columns you can have, either one or the default 2, is this checkbox here. By default, it enables full height editor. In other words, there's no scroll bar here in the editor window. And if we scroll down, you can see the formatting tools stick. But if we untick this box, then the editor window has a predefined height. And anything beyond that height adds a scroll bar to the editor window, and everything else on this page scrolls up to the top. But that's part of the distraction-free functionality. Another element of the distraction-free functionality of the editor page is this button right here in the top right corner under the Text tab. If we click on that, the elements on both sides of the editor window, the sidebars, they're going to disappear like they just did. And if you want them back temporarily, just move your cursor outside of the editor window, and there they are. And if you want them to go away again with that button on, then just put the cursor somewhere in the editor window and hit Enter, and there they go. And that's more of the distraction-free editing. Let's go ahead and turn that off and close up the Screen Options tab. And over here on the right, you have these different modules, the top one being Publish with different elements there where you can publish it immediately, or if we click on Edit, you can see where you can schedule this later. And if we change that to a later date and hit OK, you can see that Publish button changes to Schedule. You can also save it as a draft if you want to just come back later and work on this to finish it up. And under Visibility, by default, once it's published, it's going to be visible to everybody. You can change that by clicking on Edit and make it password protected or private so that only people that have access to this URL will be able to see it. And whatever changes you make here, be sure to click on OK. Otherwise, they're not going to stick. Oh yeah, let's come on back here and make this today, so I can get the Publish button. Then you've got page attributes, and depending upon the theme that you're using will depend on the number of templates that you have to choose from here. And if you'd like to add a featured image, then you have that option right here. And these modules can be moved around too. If in the title area you get that 4 arrows, left click, hold, and drag your mouse, and you can move those around. And then whenever you're finished editing, just go ahead and click on Publish. Oh, and you've got the preview option there as well. And then once it's published, you can see that that Publish button changes to Update. In case you come back in later and make any adjustments, be sure to click on the Update button to make those adjustments stick. But you also have the Get Short link in case you want a shorter URL than the one that's actually generated. If we come over to View Page, this is the normal URL, but you can get that short URL if you'd rather. And that's going to bring us to the end of this video on the WordPress page. Thanks for watching, and you have a great day. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a WordPress post. And to do that, we need to log into the dashboard area, which I've already done. And if you've never done this before, then up here in the browser's address bar, you want to put in the URL to your WordPress installation, followed by a /wp-admin, then hit Enter, and you'll be presented with a login box that's going to ask you for your username and your password. Enter that stuff, hit the Enter key, logging you into the dashboard. Once here, you want to come on over here to the left and hover over Posts, and you'll get this flyout where you can see the All Post page, And that's just a list of all the posts that you've already published or have in draft mode or are scheduled to be published in a future date. You can also see and manage the different categories and tags, which are just additional tools to help keep your post organized. And of course, you can add new posts by clicking on, you guessed it, Add New. And you can also get to the New Post page by hovering over the word New up here in the admin bar and then clicking on Post. Now, the first thing you want to do is enter a title to your post, and then you can go on down here and enter the content. And ideally, the title should be keyword rich, and that'll help you when it comes to search engine optimization. And once you enter the title up here and you click outside of that box, WordPress is going to go ahead and generate the URL or the slug to that post. And if at any time in the future, after you've published this post, you want to change that slug, you can do so by just clicking on Edit, make the change, click on OK, and once this has been published, this Publish button will change to Update. And if you want this change to take, just like any other change you make on here after it's been published, come on over here and click on Update. Otherwise, that change will not take place. And in the editor window here is where you would enter the content of that post. And you can do that a couple of ways, either by the Visual tab, which is kind of like a WYSIWYG or what you see is what you get editor, or if you'd like to enter your content kind of longhand, then you can do that under the Text tab. And you can see that the formatting options are a little more limited, but under Visual tab, you can click on the toolbar toggle button here to get additional formatting options. And you can see you're still only limited to just that single row here in the Text tab. But these formatting tools may look familiar to you if you've ever worked in a document processing program before, like Microsoft Word or OpenOffice, where you can bold text, italicize text, change the text color, and so on. Now, if you wanted to copy and paste content into this editor window from another document that already has the text formatted, like for example this Word document where I have some text bolded or italicized or a clickable link, and there's a way you can do that. Let me just copy this into my clipboard here. We're going to make sure that this formatting tool here that says Paste as Text does not have a border around it. If it does have a border around it, for example, if I click on that, you'll get this pop out that tells you what's taking place as far as being able to paste formatted content from something like Microsoft Word. Then you want to make sure that that's toggled off, because right now it's toggled on with the border around there. And if I paste this in here, none of those formatting options carried through. This is not a clickable link. This is not bolded. Now then, if we toggle this off, just by clicking on that, you can see the border's gone away. And now I'll paste that same content in here again. Now then, that formatting did carry over. And we can see this further by going to the Text tab here and seeing the source code here, where it's got the ahref tag and so on. And if you wanted to add images or videos or audio files to your post, then you can do that by using the Add Media button right up here and just put the cursor wherever you want that media to be added to, like for example an image, and then click on Add Media. And you can select media that's already in the library. You can go to Upload Files and upload media from your computer by clicking on Select Files, or just drag it and drop it here. Or you can even add it by inserting it from a URL. But if we're going to add one of these images, all you have to do is just click on it and you get the check mark. You can make a few little edits over here to the right and then click on Insert into Post, and there it is. Now, if we come on up here to the very top right, we've got this option here for screen options. If we hit that drop down, you can see that we've got some modules that can be shown in our editor page by checking or unchecking the boxes. For example, the featured image, that's this module down here at the bottom, tags and categories. If we were to uncheck all of these, then they're not there anymore. Likewise with format, it's gone as well. So all we have now is the publish module. But if you want those, make sure those are checked. Likewise with any of these other options here. Like if you wanted to be able to toggle on or off to allow people to make comments on this post, make sure that box titled Discussion is checked. Then below the text editor window, you now have the discussion module. And you can also edit the screen layout. By default, you've got 2 columns. If you wanted just 1 column, then those items that were over here on the right are now at the bottom below the editor window. And a very cool feature is this box by default is checked that enables full height editor and distraction-free functionality. And what that means is the editor window here does not have a fixed height. In other words, no matter how much content you put in here, you're not going to get a scroll bar. Let me show you what I mean. Let's go ahead and untick that. And you can see the scroll bar here because it now has a set height. So that's the full height editor. Another element of the distraction-free functionality is this button right here, right below the text tab. If we click on that, the two sidebars are going to disappear. And if we want them back temporarily, just move the mouse outside of the editor area, and there they are. And if you want them to go away again while this is toggled on, then just put your cursor anywhere in the editor window, hit enter, and there they go. Let's go ahead and toggle this off. And let's go ahead and close up the screen options. And to the right of the screen options, we have a help tab that is specific to the post editor page. So if you have any questions that are unanswered by this video, then you've got some help waiting for you right here. And while we're over here on the right, you've got the publish module right here, where you have different elements that you can either publish it right away. You can schedule the publishing to be at a later date by changing this date, clicking on OK, and that publish button changes to schedule. Let's go ahead and move that back. You can also change the default public visibility by clicking on edit and changing that to private so that only people that have this URL will be able to see this post. Or you can make it password protected, and a very cool feature, you can make it stick. In other words, on the post page right here, you can make that post stick right at the very top, so all future posts will fall below that one. Because by default, all new posts are at the top of this post page. But if you use the stick feature, then it's going to stick to the top. And whatever changes you make here, just be sure to click on OK. You also have the preview button where you can see how your post is going to look in the browser before you actually publish it to the world. And if you really just don't like what you've created, you can always move it to the trash bin. Then you've got the format module. Depending upon the theme that you're using, will depend on which or how many post formats are being shown here. And by default, standard is the one that's checked in this theme anyway. Then again, you've got the categories and tags, which, as I mentioned earlier, will simply help keep this post organized. And you got the featured image module down here where you can set a featured image for this particular post. And when you're ready, go ahead and click on publish, and your post is ready to be seen by the world. And you also have this get short link button. If we click on that, you can see that you're presented with a much shorter link than the default URL here. And that's it. That's going to bring us to the end of this video on the WordPress post and how to create one. Thanks for watching, and you have a great day.